Good morning. It's 9:30 a.m., Tuesday, November 15th. If you'd all please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to start with a prayer, please. Heavenly Father, we beseech your divine guidance in this meeting. Keep us ever mindful of our obligation. Grant us, dear Lord, wisdom, tolerance, and courage, that we may well serve our county and fulfill our trust. Amen. All right. And we've got minutes from November 8th.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion or changes? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yep.
Hambley?
Yes. Okay. We have open now for public comment regarding any of our pending resolutions. Anyone? Okay, nothing from the public. Now departments. County Engineer's Office, Josh Wolf.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Josh.
Morning.
How'd you get the short straw this morning?
Well, I guess they wanted to see who wanted to come up and congratulate everybody for winning elections last week.
I see.
I thought he
So
won the
I
lot.
won that. I won that.
He won the lottery.
Congratulations to
Yeah,
all.
we can do a short straw.
Good one, right?
Yeah.
All right, we have just two resolutions. One is what you guys signed this morning, the agreement between Brunswick and Medina County turning over a portion of West 130th north of basically Grafton Road, the section basically north of Grafton Road, turning over to totally their maintenance. There's been some some disagreements on how things should be addressed up there. This might make it more streamlined for the city and ourselves and keep it a little more direct for the residents up there. And the other one is to purchase a cabin chassis Western Star, which will be a plow truck. And the other one is a Freightliner cabin chassis that will eventually be a tree trimmer truck. So,
Make a
that's
motion to approve the two resolutions.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you gonna have any trouble getting those trucks?
I don't expect to see them in 23. I'm going to guess they'll be 24 before we see them.
Okay. Sanitary Engineer, Jeremy Zinko.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Jeremy.
5 resolutions for consideration this morning. The first is amending the sewer use charges for the Medina County Sewer District. I'd like to note that the last sewer rate increase was in 2013. The second is amending the water use charges for the Medina County Sewer District. The last water rate increase was confirmed at 2021. The third is accepting and awarding the bid for the Grafton Road Water Main Replacement Project 2022. The fourth is authorizing change order number 1 for the Medina County Residential Solid Waste Campus Project. And the last is authorizing change order number 1 for the Medina County Sanitary Sewer Main Extension Ryan Road 2022 project. I'd like to make note that that is a decrease.
Right.
Good.
Almost $14,000. That's
Yeah.
good.
I don't get to say that often.
I'll make a motion to approve the 5 resolutions.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
That'll help offset the $2.8 million bid on the solid waste project, right?
Yeah, well, let's not
Fair.
worry about that one right now.
How have the bids overall been?
The bids for the Grafton Road project were a little higher than we had anticipated. They actually just came just under the 10% engineer's estimate, so that was close to it, having to do a rebid there. So that 16-inch main, and when you look at the price per foot, it was about $333 a foot for that 16-inch water main. So it's a little bit more than we expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, dealing with the bidding amounts, and as you brought to my attention, there is a House bill working its way through, and I know the CCIO are advocating for its passage. It would increase that to 15% above.
And the bill
under-
is at 20.
At 20. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. 20. I think we were advocating 15, and
Yeah.
they decided to come in with a higher amount. Maybe the legislature will bring it down to 15, but it's better than 10.
Yeah, correct.
As well as increasing the bid amount to 100,000.
Correct, from
From
50,000. Yep.
So, yeah, just because of the price of materials, everything's gone up, and it's crazy.
Yeah, 50,000 doesn't go as far as it used to.
That's for sure.
What, you think those will make a lame duck?
That's the hope. That's the hope. Yeah, that they can make it through there. So, well, we'll know in the next couple weeks. All right. Oh, roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, very good, thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
All right. Facilities Director, Stephen Pastine.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Stephen?
I have 3 resolutions for your consideration. The first being accepting and awarding the bid for the Medina County Human Service Center exterior repair project. That was to Lawler Construction for $792,000 to redo the bridge and the south entry of that building. The second is agreement for architectural design and engineering services for the kitchen renovation at project at the Human Service Center building. That's for the Office for Older Adults kitchen redesign. And the third and final resolution is the signing a quote for an equipment purchase for a lift to be used at for the maintenance department throughout the county.
I'll make motion to approve the 3 resolutions.
Second.
Moved and second, any discussion?
Jeremy, any idea when we'll start the project at the Human Services building, the bridge?
I do not know. I'm going to assume it's going to be springtime next year. It's a lot of brick work, so it'll
It's all
probably.
exterior, really.
Yeah, I was really surprised that the north staircase actually started this season, but I do believe it's going to be springtime this next season.
Yeah.
I'll get a final schedule. Once we get this approved, we'll start putting together all of the materials and things like that. All of the submittals and stuff will come together.
Unfortunately, there's not anything that can wait.
Right.
Yeah,
It's needed.
It's in dire need, I know.
Several years. I mean, we repaired both sides of the walls,
I
the
know.
retaining walls going back, 3-4 years ago.
Yes.
And it's just been a continual degradation over time.
As I looked at the record, as you know, kind of researched the history of the building, within 2 years of that being built, actually, that was an issue.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just the design.
How's the OSU project going?
It is moving along. I think we have all of our bid quotes in. We're just waiting for funding to be put in the right places so we can start transferring all of that and moving forward on it. We are prepared, ready to go forward with it. With the Human Service Center project, if you're into construction, when they do that south entry, it'll be a very fascinating event that will happen because of how that's going to happen. So if you're into it, they're designing some pretty neat systems to actually hold up the walls
Really, wow.
for that system.
You said they're gonna have to build like a canopy over the top of it?
They've got to build some sort of structure that's going to hold up the actual skin of the building while
Right.
they repair. Yeah, so that's a cantilevered system inside the wall.
Right,
It'll be
yeah,
pretty neat.
yeah.
So
Yeah, okay.
fascinating if you're an engineer.
Well, I know they were, the alternate back then was that they were looking at precast concrete instead of brick.
Yeah.
But originally.
Probably would have been easier on us today.
Probably, but it was Wadsworth brick, actually, so it was the last county public building made with a local brick.
Oh, nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so anyway. Yeah.
Always the historian.
Yeah, no, well, anyway. What was good brick? What can I say? Anyway.
He knows the history of bricks.
I love
Yeah,
it.
just a little bit. All right. A roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks. All right. Scott Miller, County Administrator.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have 2 resolutions for you today. The first resolution is authorizing the leasing of a vehicle. This is for the Medina County Soil and Water District. This is a 2023 Chevy Malibu, estimated at a rate of $370.55 a month. The second resolution is actually being presented on behalf of the Planning Department. This is a change order for the critical infrastructure road and bridge project in the Township of Lafayette. This is on Main Drive. It's increasing the contract from $93,203 to $98,830, and this is for the additional concrete, ditch enclosure, pipe, and premium backfill.
I'll make motion to approve the 2 resolutions.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thanks,
Thanks, Scott. Holly Murin, our Human Resources Director.
Good morning, Holly.
Good morning. On our personnel changes today, we have 3 new hires, 2 at Job and Family Services and 1 at Transit, a promotion at Job and Family Services, 4 rate increases, 2 in sanitary and 2 in commissioners, a lateral class change at Job and Family Services, a rate correction at Solid Waste District, a date correction in sanitary, a leave of absence at Job and Family Services, and a change in leave in sanitary.
Make motion to approve?
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All
Ellen.
right. Assistant County Administrator, Amy Lyon Galvin. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have 13 resolutions for your consideration this morning. The first one's amending the appropriation measure resolution. The second's amending the 22 appropriations by transferring appropriations. Third is expenditure adjustments for various funds. Fourth is revenue adjustments for various funds. And then fifth is cash transfers for various funds. The sixth is authorizing the county auditor to transfer funds from various county department accounts to the gasoline rotary fund. The seventh is approving the transfer of Medina County inventory between various Medina County offices. The eighth is declaring Medina County property as excess property. The ninth is fund accounting adjustments for local fiscal recovery fund. These are the ARPA dollars, as to partial payroll and benefit expenses incurred in calendar year in 2022. So in talking with outside counsel, Bricker and Eckler have recommended this format to demonstrate projects funded with the $9.65 million of government services revenue replacement dollars. So, considering these monies have to be encumbered by the end of 24 and spent by the end of 26, this will give us a historical look at what those $35 million in total went towards. So it'll be a nice way to track those. And from an audit perspective, we're following the same format we did as for the CARES dollars. So next week you'll see another one of these. You'll see these appearing pretty frequently, and it'll cover OSU extension and the $200,000 of seed money for OOA's kitchen. But more to come.
Okay.
The 10th is extending an agreement with Sedgwick Claims Management Service for 1 year. The 11th is allowing expenses of the county engineer. 12th is allowing expenses of county officials. And 13th is approving claims for the week in the amount of $718,343.81.
I make a motion to approve the 13 resolutions.
Second.
Moving to second, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes.
Thank you.
I do actually have one question, Amy.
Sure.
Back on the ARPA money.
Mhm.
The board made an election to apply that $9.6 million to revenue loss.
Correct.
That in and of itself is a encumbrance of those funds, right? I mean, it's as if we spent them.
No. They're not spent yet. They're designated, and you'll see in this first transfer appropriations resolution, the whole $9.65 million is being moved in the ARPA line to a salary line item. And then as we're creating opportunity, as you're approving various projects, we're expense adjusting salaries to get that money moved appropriately back to the general fund, and then it can be moved into the reserves and then assigned out for projects. So I guess yes and no. Yes, you've committed to it, but in the spreadsheet that I'm updating, that's a declining balance. So any project that you approve that comes off of that I add in as its own line item will be deducted off of that declining balance. So it's not yet committed, so to speak, to specific projects, but it's designated for use so that it's not available
Okay,
for.
all right, fair enough, but from a reporting back to the federal government on the ARPA funds,
Mhm.
since we have elected to take that money as a revenue replacement to the county,
Mhm.
are we required to do more to demonstrate what we did with the money back to the federal government? Or is that a blanket over that portion of the funds that is good enough?
So in the reporting, with the quarterly reports, there's a portal piece that will designate that 9.65 million, but each reporting period, we only report what has been spent from that 9.65. So It's shown as being,
So what happens if we choose not to spend the 9.65? Whatever the balance is of it.
so what would end up happening is that would just get moved at whatever time that decision gets made. If we're not gonna, if the expectation is not to consider project by project, but just to move it all as a lump sum, that would occur as one large transaction to the general fund.
Okay, that answered my question. Very
Okay.
good, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for continuing to ask questions so that I could deliver the proper
All right,
answer.
thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Our chief billing official, Richard Nelson. Good morning.
Good morning, Richard.
Did you get your reports then?
Oh,
We
yeah.
got them.
Sorry, we got those to you late
That's right.
yesterday. Usually you get them much earlier. First page. The overall construction value still, of course, remains very high. The percentage, interestingly, year-to-date totals is a little bit lower because last October was a pretty big month, a year ago October. So it changes the percentages, and it's amazing how much that can fluctuate. But given that it's based on last October, year-to-date, it just changes things. So it's a more normal 41% over, above last year, year-to-date. Average of cost of new homes actually dropped $15,000. That's crazy. We must have had a whole bunch of moderate-size homes got permitted in October. Changes the overall average. It's quite amazing.
So Richard, to that point, when there are several Redwood projects listed in here, you view those each as a collective commercial project, not as an individual residential project, is that fair?
Correct. Anything over a 3-unit home or a home with 3 units combined is still a residential building. But anything 4 units and above is part of the commercial.
So even if those are separate units, because they have, I think, like 2 family units together.
Those are residential buildings then. A
So-
1, 2,
so
or
would-
3 family unit.
Okay,
So
but
s-
if they built them for, if they built 100 of these 2 family homes, is that considered a residential unit each?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
that would drive that number down then.
Well, if we drive it down, it seems like we drive it up.
Well, I guess I don't know what
Yeah.
they individually cost, but okay.
Yeah. But,
Fair
but there's a lot. In fact, new home starts, in October, 58. That's a super high number for October. It brings our year-to-date total of new homes this year up to 390, which is exceeds the 3-year high. And so we're going to give 2018 a run for its money. It had 472 new homes, and we'll be probably pretty close to that. Second page is a breakdown of receipts for the month. Again, last October was a pretty big month, so the receipts comparison's down a couple %. Third page, year-to-date receipts is more accurate, 30% higher than a year ago last year because of all the additional work getting done. Our receipts are higher. Fourth page, breakdown by township for the permits, residential stuff. Fifth page, pretty much same thing, breakdown with graphs. Sixth page, now we're up to 152 commercial projects so far this year. And again, last month I reported that all of last year was 111 projects. We still got 2 months to go. And the last page is breakdown of all the commercial projects that were permitted in October. Quite a few. So overall, we're super busy, still hanging in there. Our residential review time's about 5 or 6 days. Commercial review time about 21 days, which, given the amount of activities, not too bad. Not too bad. Pretty much all I have.
All right,
Mhm.
very good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you. Economic Development Corporation, Kathy Breitenbooker. Good morning.
So as you know, Bethany does the report, and she did it in September. Dave did fiber last month, so I'm here as CVB and Workforce. So for the Medina County Convention and Visitors Bureau, we're really excited. We had 21,000 people hit the Where to Stay page on our website last month. So that has to translate to somebody staying, right? So that's a pretty good number. We also saw over 4,000 people hit our Facebook page. So that's a huge jump. We're definitely getting a lot more traffic. And that just means we're getting our message out even more. And our Google ads reached over 44,000 people in October. So we're talking, huge numbers of folks getting to see information about Medina County. I've met with Destination Cleveland and Holmes County. Interestingly enough, I'm trying to get key performance indicators to really understand how we're doing, because most of the visitor bureaus use bed tax, which is great, except that it lags by 4 months. So I'm trying to find out how we can really understand our successes or where we need to improve in a real time. And so far, not having a lot of luck. So it's an interesting industry for that. I do have a meeting coming up with the Wayne County director, who is starting this week. So this is a new person to the field. We're very involved in adventures in Northeast Ohio, which is a great group of folks from all over Northeast Ohio. It's a very interesting group because it seems like there are two camps. There are the folks that are retiring or have retired, and then there are all the folks that are brand new. So it's a great resource, and they're just really fun. People in tourism are really fun. Economic developers can be very serious, but tourism people are fun. We also have 2 candlelight walks coming up this weekend, so hopefully everybody can get out and see all this stuff. Don't worry, it's going to be cold, so that's what we want for a candlelight walk, because then you stop in and shop, so lots more sales tax. Go, Scott. And then we also have First Friday, December 2nd in Wadsworth, and that's when Santa will show up in Wadsworth. Santa will show up in Medina this weekend. And then Christmas in the Valley, the parade is December 11th. So lots of ways to celebrate the holidays and the weather change and all the great stuff. As far as workforce goes, we are updating the white paper. I've been saying this a lot lately, so I'm just going to say it here. We have not had a replacement birth rate in this country since the 1970s. That's really important because that is 50 years ago. I know it doesn't feel like it, but, it is. And without that replacement birth rate, we set ourselves up to have a workforce problem. That means it's not going away. We have to address it. We have to bring in more people. We have to, make companies more efficient. We have to do something to help ourselves with our workforce numbers. So we'll be updating that white paper very soon. Ways to work. We are now currently at capacity. We have 18 riders. So that's really great. We do have a waiting list of 14, which is unfortunate because we aren't able to help those folks. The funding does end in June. So we are prepping all those folks that, it does come to an end. And nobody has stepped up and said, yeah, we want to take this over. So, it is a success in that we've had 4 people get vehicles and be able to go to work on their own. We're hoping to have more than that by June. But this was definitely an interesting pilot. The Going to Work scholarships. We are very grateful to the Ken Cleveland Foundation, the Westfield Foundation, and the Sunrise Rotary for giving us enough money. We should be able to give at least 13 scholarships this year, maybe even a couple more. So that's going to be really exciting. And the committee is working on finishing up the application and getting that out to the schools next semester. So we'll start seeing those applications. Our career coach, last time I reported to you was in August. He had started in July, so didn't have a lot to report. I can tell you he's now met with over 1,000 students. He's meeting with entire classes. He's meeting with special groups that have been set up by the schools, and he's meeting one-on-one with a number of students as well. So he's really doing a great job. Our schools have embraced this program wholeheartedly. They're very excited, and we appreciate all their support. Along with that, the pre-apprentice program, the schools have been able to do some additional testing and put people through a couple different options. So we're down to only needing 100 kids in the county that need to go through pre-apprentice. which is still 100 kids that need to go through pre-apprentice. So we've had a couple different classes that have been groups. I had the opportunity to teach 55 of them on October 12th. So that was fun. I'm not great at classroom management. Like, who knew that was a thing? But we've been able to do, get everybody started, and a number of them will finish that program this semester, and then they can start job shadowing and doing other things next semester to really understand that, hey, there's life after high school. It's okay. We were invited to present at both the counselors program in the all counselors program for the state last month, and then yesterday we were in Columbus and presented to the state school board meeting. We had about 75 people in attendance to hear about our program. Clearly, we are leading in this area. There were lots of school districts that have no plan, and we had a lot of questions about what to do. So that's been really great. And Christina and I were both presented the Outstanding Leadership Award yesterday by the Ohio Educational Service Center group, thanks to our partnership with RESC. Talk about unsung heroes. People have no idea the support they provide our schools, and Bob Lasko and his team are just phenomenal. I didn't even know there were 150 people over there, so it's really terrific. So we appreciated that award.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, good.
Great.
All right.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy. Commissioners' resolution. We have a resolution approving the petition for boundary line adjustments for Brunswick Hills Township. This involves an annexation earlier this year, and this is the annual to readjust the boundary lines for the city of Brunswick to conform with that annexation.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Move and second. Any discussion or comments? Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes. We have appointing a member to the Community Action Wayne Medina County Board of Directors. Pending vacancy of the Community Action Wayne Medina County Board of Directors for the Board of Medina County Commissioners Representative, whereas Carrie Deeks has expressed interest in serving as Commissioners Representative at the Community Action Wayne Medina Board of Directors. It is the desire of the Board of County Commissioners that Carrie Deeks be appointed to serve on that said board. This is for a term effective December 31st, 2022, ending December 31st, 2023. And I believe that there was an outgoing member, Cliff Bellar, and we give our thanks to him for his service the last number of years.
Absolutely. Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Move and second. Any discussion?
Carrie is a nice person. She'll do a great job.
Yes.
Yep, indeed. Good. Roll call, please.
Sweattick?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes. Also wanted at this time to Commissioners have a hearing date notice, regular annexation petition. Clerk of the Board of Medina County Commissioners received a petition for a regular annexation on November 14th, 2022 for one parcel of land totaling 1.50 acres of land from Brunswick Hills Township to the City of Brunswick. The hearing regarding this petition will be held on Tuesday, January 24th, 2023 at approximately 10:30 a.m., providing no objections are received between now and then. That's just a notice. All right. Nothing else there. Open up to public comment. Anything in public? Seeing none, okay, we'll get into a discussion session. We do have, we'll jump first into the SPCA budget request. Amy, did you want to, or SPCA, you want to come up first? Go ahead. Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to all of you. My name is Bailey Ewing, and I am the Director of Operations for the Medina County SPCA. I wanted to shed some light on the Medina County SPCA and how we operate and all that we have accomplished this year. The hope is that the County Commissioners will see our value in our services and help us continue to serve the sick, injured, abused, and neglected animals in Medina County by moving forward with a written contract both parties will agree upon. Our typical day consists of 10 plus phone calls of owner surrenders, another 15 about stray cats, and another 10 to report animal abuse. We are the only agency in the county that has a humane officer, meaning we enforce animal cruelty laws. Every animal should be free from pain and or suffering. The humane officer can seize animals if there's probable cause that the animal is in pain or suffering. Through these animal cruelty cases, the Medina County SPCA has worked diligently to nourish relationships with local law enforcement, mental health services, and job and family services. Many times we need to work together with other agencies to have the best result for the animal as well as the owner. There have been instances where the local law enforcement has proceeded with filing charges while we have handled the probable cause hearing. In many of our hoarding cases, we have also had alternative paths help support the owner during the difficult time by finding temporary housing and/or enroll in their services. The Medina County SPCA has worked hand in hand with Child Protective Services. It might initially be an animal welfare complaint. However, through our evidence, Child Protective Services has more information on the safety of the child. We have even called for help from the Medina County Coalition Against Human Trafficking for labor trafficking cases. Animal abuse cases are a joint effort and require support from the county to continue serving at this unprecedented rate. Historically, the Medina County SPCA has received $10,000 from the county for sick and injured animals. On average, the cost that we put into each animal is actually $280.20. That's just about 36 animals. Just looking at our case animals for this year, we have taken in 12 dogs and 82 cats for the year of 2022. Even with growing cases, we are still able to continue taking healthy strays, owner surrenders as spaces become available. I hope this provides more insight on the Medina County SPCA. Our hope is that the county commissioners will move forward with a written contract partnership between the county and us. In this contract, there will be a list of expectations that are agreed on by both parties and financial compensation for the services that have been provided. The Medina County SPCA will continue to work hand in hand with other agencies to help make a difference in our community animals' lives. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Don't leave, got a question for you.
Yes.
So I'm not sure exactly, we have a budget here.
Yes.
That came from.
Correct.
Through March of 2023.
Correct.
Okay. So as I look at this, it looks like there's total income of about $532,000.
Correct.
And total expenses of about $532,000.
Correct.
So does this include I'm assuming it includes the $10,000 that the commissioners gave previously.
Mhm.
There's a request for an additional $10,000. Does this budget include that?
That does not, no. This is based off of our budget from last year, and we just barely broke even at $180.
$180.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So if the commissioners give an additional $10,000, what are you gonna do with it?
Put it towards our animals that we help from the county, the injured and the sick ones.
Okay. So it'll
Yes.
just go into operations. There's no
Correct. It'll go directly
specific
to the
plan.
animals.
Okay.
Yes.
Amy, you're working with Mike Lyons to formalize a contract, if you will. It would have that, and it would have, I guess, some, as you indicate, some kind of performance measures or, okay,
Correct.
that would be included in that. Do you
Absolutely.
have any idea when you'll be completing that, or any promises to us to take a look at it?
I don't have a commitment from Mike, but I would say we had something by middle of December.
Okay.
The SPCA's legal counsel's gonna wanna also, review that.
Right.
So I was actually thinking probably would be after the first of the year that we'd be in a position to have that adopted.
Okay. Since we're going to be, I know that there's annually, the way that, as I understand the code is, there's those XX funds in the kennel, dog and kennel fund, that can be used for the purposes of the SPCA, and I presume that's where we would draw the money from. But doesn't that encumbering those funds have to occur before the first of the year?
So what, do you wanna?
Yeah, please, yeah, if you wouldn't mind, sorry.
So what had been done in years prior is that there would be budget set aside under dog and kennel contract services.
Got it.
And that would cover a $20,000, for example, allocation potentially for next year while the details are worked out for
Okay.
the contractual arrangement. Then that would be adjusted then based on what the outcome is of that final contract.
So if we include this in the budget on the 20th, December 20th, when we're anticipating passing the budget for next year, then we just work out the final details for next year
Yes.
with the contract. Got
Yes.
it. Okay, all right.
Mhm.
Good, good.
And I appreciated Bailey putting together the summary to allow
Yes.
her the opportunity to come in and share their work.
Mhm.
Sure,
I did have one question. How many employees, full-time and part-time, are included in the 230,000 wages and salaries?
We have 3 full-time staff members, and we have
Okay.
3 full-time staff members, and we also have 9 part-time kennel workers. Yes,
They're paid, not volunteer.
paid. Correct.
That full-time includes a humane officer, right? At this point, you just have one humane officer that's been approved by the probate judge?
So actually, I'm the only one that has been approved through the probate judge. We have someone in training. She's completed all of her training. We're just waiting for the appointment through Judge Dutton's
Okay.
office.
All right. And I know under the law that there's an annual report of enforcement has to also be filed. Now, I presume
Correct.
that that's done at the end of the year?
Correct. We
And
just
you'll
started.
file it with the sheriff?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, all right.
What is your fiscal year? Is it a calendar year or?
It's not.
So does it go from April to March?
April to March.
Got it.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Got it. Okay, all right, cool. All right, any other questions? All right.
No, thank you. I
very much.
appreciate it.
Thank you,
Did,
Bailey.
I know we have other members from the SPCA here. Did you want to speak? Sure. Since we're live online, you might want to please come to the microphone to assist our residents.
Good morning. I guess most people know me as Hub Marquis. My real name is George Marquis.
Hub is good.
Okay.
Okay, you can go by an alias here.
Okay. This year has been a big year for us, mainly because we've had a lot of transition. Bailey has been our humane officer, all the way through the whole year. We had our director of operations leave us in early summer. Bailey was chosen to take her place. So now Bailey had 2 main jobs for the whole year. She is, it's amazing, 1, that she's still with us, and 2, she's still married, and because she has given us a great deal of time this year. We have a young lady that's going to take her place, which is good. But the interesting thing is the lady that left, which we had a lot of counsel before she left, said, probably see you again. It took her 2 months, and, can I come back? Okay, she did. Her name's Tracy Miller. Excuse me. Anyhow, we have, the SPCA has really blossomed over the last few years. We're taking in a whole lot more animals than we ever have. And we need the help. We need there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done, and people need to be on top of that at all times. And having Tracy back certainly helps that. 2 recent cases that we had one in Montville Township, close to 80, what kind of cats? Persian cats that were all matted. I mean, it was awful. The lady had to be taken from the premises. I guess she's in human services now, or whatever. She's being. She could not handle that. The house is being, I don't know what, but it's up for sale because she was default on her mortgage. But all the cats were in horrible condition, and so we have those cats in the facility now. And then 2 weeks later, we end up with a horrible situation with a lady in the house. She had 26 cats, 46 cats, and 2 dogs and 2 lizards or something, bearded dragons. Bailey took some pictures. It was just horrifying to see the conditions this lady was living in. But as she said earlier, they gave her some opportunity. She went into alternative paths. These people need help, and we don't want to just take their animals. Obviously, we want to see them get better at the same time. So we now have the 46 cats on top of the other 70. That just stretches us unbelievably with the facility. We will make it. We will get through it. But that's the kind of thing that's going on. And I know that animals obviously are not nearly as important as human beings, but to human beings, a lot of times animals are very important, and sometimes too important. But anyhow, the county continues to grow, and when they do, we continue to get, more cases, more people coming in that just kind of don't mean to do awful things to animals, but they do. So anyhow, we do appreciate everything you've done for us over the years. It goes back to Mr. Hambley back in 12 or 13 when we had to do some things with an incinerator. But again, I think we're up to the modern age of trying to take care of animals the way they should be taken care of. But again, we do appreciate all the help that the commissioners have given us over the years, and thank you very much. I've been in this job way too long. It's probably time for me to move on, but they won't let me. So I continue to be part of this. But anyhow, again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hub.
How's the facility?
How is the
Yeah,
facility?
you when the SPCA bought that,
farm?
yeah, 5, 6 years?
It's been
ago?
longer than that. I think it was right around 14, 15 is
Okay.
when we did it. It
Is
really is.
all the debt service retired on it?
Oh
or
yes,
is-
yes.
so
We
everything
were
is-
able to, able to do that fairly quickly, but we're going to need to expand, obviously. So, try to be brief. It's a house and then a facility. What do you call west of it? It's all on the same property, so we have a lot of room to expand. There was a lot of talk among ourselves about maybe building a barn, but we really kind of, because of our size, kind of shy away from horses, but we still get them. But we rent space for that. But anyhow, we intend on expanding the facility as soon as we can. Obviously, we don't really like to get into debt, but that's probably going to require some debt for us to do that. But we have plenty of room to do it, and we have an awful lot of some very kind people in this county that that do help us, and we do greatly appreciate that. So,
Thank
so
you.
thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you.
much.
All right. So obviously, we'll be discussing this, reviewing this prior to the passage of the budget when we have our budget discussions. So, very good. Thank you. Continue on. Scott?
I've got a couple things. So yesterday I got a quote from Sheriff Grice. This is for repairs to some of the towers. They've been having some issues with connection in the radios. I need to buy a baseband module, GPS clock, some microwave equipment, totaling about $84,515. So with your permission, I'd like to go ahead and move forward with funding that from the general fund. We currently have a fund set up for tower repairs, but I don't know that there's enough in there to cover the cost or enough to appropriate the monies.
Didn't we have like 350 grand in that fund?
No,
Or did we moved some of it out?
no, there's about that fund that you're thinking of is actually in a deficit. The tower repair fund, we put about $25,000 in. I think that's all that we certified was 25.
Okay.
So this will have to come from the general fund. So we'll probably make just these repairs out of other expenses, or possibly we'll transfer money to the maintenance capital improvement fund and make them out of there.
So I guess but begs the question, I did read the list yesterday and went through very good. Now, with this, are we expecting some other further expenses for that fund next year, or does this pretty much take care of? This is more like putting out a fire right now.
This is
correct?
putting out a fire right now, yeah, and
Okay.
we'll make sure we'll replenish the $25,000
Right.
in the tower repair fund. So when we have those unexpected expenses with generators or just general maintenance, it comes out of that fund.
Right.
I did talk to Sheriff Grice last night, and he said there is a possibility the microwave, if he's working with David Corrado
Mhm.
to try to get fiber to some of these towers, and if he can do that, then we may not need the microwave equipment, or we'll be able to use the fiber instead. So that
Mhm.
may change the cost a little. I don't know if we have time to actually get fiber there before we make the repairs,
Got it.
but it's something that we need to do because of the connectivity issues.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and do that. Also, I think, Steve, I know I met with Jim Duber, Ed Zachary, and Steven last week about the Veterans Building.
Mhm.
And the original estimate was about $400,000. And this was for basically a garage, a meeting room, some bathrooms, and some additional office space. They've outgrown the space they're currently in. They just hired another individual. They don't have an office for them, so they need to do some renovations. And their cost came in at an astronomical amount of about $1.8 million.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was significantly higher. So we met last week, and we told them, you got to get the cost down. So we're going to be meeting again with Jim Duber and Stephen and I and Ed. We'll be getting together to kind of go over a scaled down plan. I tried to get Jim to commit to $1 million, and he wasn't comfortable with $1 million. He said, maybe get it down to 1.2. So just be aware that this project is probably going to be about $1.2 million.
Triple the original.
Triple the original estimate, yeah.
How many square feet, Scott? Do you know how many square feet they're gonna build?
Not off the top of my head. Well, what's surprising though is a lot of that square footage is garage.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But
space.
but Jim, I asked Jim about that, and he said, well, the cost is really in your land, your groundwork, and in your mechanicals, because you're going to have to upgrade the mechanicals for the larger space. So
You're gonna have to upgrade it for the whole building?
yes,
There you
yeah. So he said
Okay.
that's where a lot of your cost is.
Okay.
So, and regardless of, if it's 10,000 square feet or 15,000 square feet, you still have,
go. Yeah, upgrades,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, okay.
so
It's got central heated air, and so you're gonna upgrade the capacity of that current system, plus also to include the additional square footage. Is
yes.
that correct? So,
So,
as opposed to doing an independent HVAC for those additions?
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
so originally we were doing ARPA for that, so.
So we're going from 400,000 to 1.2 million?
1.2 million, yeah. We're going to try to get to 1.2 million.
Okay.
So, and the question is, do we use all ARPA? Do we use some capital improvement funds? There are different options. It's just once we actually get the costs and once we get the timing of the project in place, then we can kind of look at those. Okay, is it going to be 100% ARPA? Is it going to be capital improvement, reserve? What is it going to be?
Capital improvement list is significant, and I'd rather just use the ARPA if we're gonna do it. It already qualifies, correct?
Well,
It'd be
yeah, it would offer the revenue replacement.
Stephen, any possibility of using split units and some of that additional space?
Some of that is not necessarily.
Sorry.
Most of those costs are coming from the electrical upgrade, so we have to upgrade the entire electrical system in the building. So that electrical comes from over where Jobs and Families at, underground, and it comes to the opposite side of the building, and that would be the build side of it, so you'd have to bore a whole new system. So you'll upgrade your electrical services and then backfeed the current building, so most of the cost will be in electrical upgrades. And then also with
okay.
those costs, if you continue to keep the facade work with brick or with the stone that it is currently, that is also an additional cost. So that's where the costs are kind of driving up. Again, you could do like a vinyl siding, which would probably bring some of those costs down, but,
It's not gonna look as nice.
and it also won't last as
It
long.
lasts
Last as
so
long,
long,
yeah.
So there are additional costs in some of just the actual
All right.
structure of it.
But at this point, you're gonna continue working on it, see if we can kind of value engineer it and see if it makes some sense, okay.
Yeah, we'll get it down as low as we possibly can.
Okay,
So-
and still give them that additional space that they require, not only for storage, but also the new employee and the meeting space.
Yeah.
For their board, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I know Ed did scale it down quite a bit. We got rid of those extra bathrooms. Basically, it's another meeting room. It's a garage. And in the building that he currently has, it's kind of doing some renovations inside for office space for
Got
new
it.
employees.
Okay, all right,
So,
okay.
okay.
All right.
All right,
Anything
thank you.
else? All right, good.
Thanks, Scott.
Jeremy?
Just real quick, we had our veterans breakfast last Thursday, and just wanted to thank everyone that was able to attend. It seemed like everyone had a great time, and just wanted to give a special shout out to all the local businesses that donated all the food and prizes to all the employees, because without them, this doesn't happen. So, just wanted to say thanks, and I know the Gazette was there and had a nice article in there, so thank you for that as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah.
So that's all I had.
All right,
Thank
very
you.
good.
Thanks.
Well, thanks. Boy, that was good. Anything else? Amy? Anything else? Holly? Stephen?
Now, you notice Jeremy got up this time and didn't ask us for any money.
Is this a challenge?
Well,
We can,
I'm
we
just
can
saying.
bring this report in two different directions, and I will let you know that the facility condition assessment is in. So
Okay.
I
Oh,
will
cool.
I will print those off and get those to you hopefully this week. So it's not going to cost you any more money yet. It's just how you deal
It's
with it
coming.
from here. It'll cost money. So there's an executive summary report I'll provide you, and then there's also an entire facility condition assessment for all the buildings, about
Great.
265 pages.
Excellent. Very
Okay.
good. Thank you.
That's all I had.
I'm glad to hear that that's done.
It is done, and then the predictor software will be starting to get set up off of that, and then we've also got a PM maintenance schedule system that'll also be coming in as well with the software we currently use.
Any teases what building needs the most?
I only looked at the overall numbers and I just closed it at that
Okay.
point in time.
That's a tease.
So, all right.
Steel doors at the courthouse.
The steel doors at the courthouse, we've got the first shipment. There was 59 of them delivered Friday. They have been painted. They are hanging those currently. We are waiting for confirmation on the second load, which will be the final load of steel doors for that. We are hoping that they were shipped Friday, or they get shipped this Friday.
No, but they're actually made somewhere. They're somewhere, right? Just
We are hopefully, yes, we're thinking that they're made. They're being made in Canada and shipped. So it's only a few day travel from where that facility is at. So
okay.
that's where they're at with.
What about
Yeah.
switches?
Switches are installed. The problem we are having right now is that the generator was just installed yesterday or the day before. We have a test that should be happening currently on that generator. As soon as that generator is up and running, they will finish the outlets that go to all of the MDFs and IDFs, which is the closets for all of the data. And as soon as those power is on, they can power the switches up and then finish all of those connections.
Good deal.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, very good. Let's see, anybody else? Josh, you don't have anything for us? So,
Richard?
okay.
Amy?
Colleen?
I'm good.
Bill?
Nothing.
I did want to announce that we are going to be doing a, if you will, ribbon cutting of the new courthouse on Tuesday, December 20th. Our intentions are to have at 3 o'clock, there will be a public officials reception up on the second floor. Few speeches. Bill has agreed to be the MC for that with all the public officials. We will now then go down and have a ribbon cutting at the very opening at 3:30. And from there will be an open house. The general public can come in only through the first floor to the second floor. Since it already will be in use, it'll be kind of restricted as to where we access and where we get in. But if people want to see one of the new courtrooms as well as the clerk of court space, they'll be able to see that at that time. And it'll be open then until 5 o'clock. So the idea is we'll have from 3 to 5 on December 20th. And we'll pray for good weather like this, that it's not snowing or raining, and at least something comparable to, I'll just say Christmas kind of weather without the snow. So
It really is exciting that we're here. It's been so
It will be,
long
I know.
since we've been talking about this. It's nice.
So, anyway, I've got nothing else, so we need a motion.
I will make a motion to go into executive session to consider the employment and compensation of a public employee and to consider the appointment of a public official.
Second.
Moved in second. Roll call, please.
Swedick?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Hambley?
Yes. Now, this will end our live coverage for today. We'll be returning. We do have an executive session this morning, and then we've scheduled one for 3 o'clock, and then we will adjourn for the day after that executive session for the appointment of a public official. And we will see you next week.